Hello everyone, in the next video from Flashpoint campaign Southern Storm, we are back to a final push scenario, and now it's about time to redeploy our units along the front line. And let me take a look what we can do. As far as I remember, I had a few dilemmas where to place my forces. So now let's start doing so. It's gonna be a complicated thing. So we have two recon elements, including HQ. I'm not sure whether placing HQ as a combat unit makes sense, but actually, they have two Bradleys equipped with TOW 2, and that's basically the copy of reconnaissance section, as you can see. So technically, it would be a bit more wise to just keep them somewhere back, but since they are able to provide as much firepower as reconnaissance section, I wouldn't mind to use them. Now the question is where. Oh, let me take a look at SOP. That's a fire medium range. So for TOW 2, the maximum range is around 3.7 kilometers. If I place them here, along that bridge south, it provides a lot of. Hmm. The line of sight is nice. The problem is that I may not have enough range to be able to keep the B470 road under fire control, and that's something I'm worried about. Also, I'm not entirely sure from which direction enemy will come. He's stationing south of Bad Windsheim, and he has two possible paths. So either go along the objectives following B470, I think it's a highway, uh, and I think he will do so because he has objectives to capture. On the other hand, he can decide to move south. Mm, Ichelheim, then from Ichelheim he can go towards Westheim, from Westheim to Marktbergel, and from Marktbergel to Burgbernheim. But I think he will actually select the approach along the B470 highway and along the objective. So the question is whether my weaponry, my armament is able to reach that highway. I'm pretty sure we can reach that highway, for example, from ridges more southwest, I would say, so around Schlossberg Hill, somewhere here. So we can set up defenses around Burgbernheim. It means, of course, that we will lose free objectives. The key element is that I don't think there is a way to hold them, and I think we have to give up on them at that point. We will just let them capture those three objectives. We will try to maximize casualties on their side, and when they are low in numbers, we will try to recapture them. Of course, that's one giant open field. We should be able to have a lot of line of sight since it's a flat terrain. And I think that's the plan. On the other hand, if we could keep Bad Windsheim, that would probably change slightly our perspective. Since defending the city or in general, defending the urban area is very favorable for the defensive side. And that's because capturing the urban area is usually a bloodshed for the attackers, unless they have enough artillery support or closer support to just pulverize the city. This is one of the options. I think you can see a lot of such examples in Ukraine, either Severodonetsk or Bakhmut or any other city which was defended hard, uh, ended up being pulverized. So mm, this is one of the options available. The problem is that I cannot deploy my units in Bad Windsheim as far as I understand. Of course, there is a yeah for mechanized infantry company. I have hex here available, which means that I could put a full company here in Bad Windsheim, including her defense. And now, well, another question. I guess that I cannot stack so many units at one place. Let me try doing so. Okay, that's HQ and three platoons. I will give them also anti-tank platoon and air defense section. Okay, so yeah, I can stack them here. You can see it's possible. Of course, now they are ridiculously vulnerable target. Yeah, and I have no clue whether I will have time to get out from that position. So probably this is not the best idea to do so. So let's give up on that plan and let's give up on Bad Windsheim defense then. On the other hand, we can deploy around Uffenheim area, and from Uffenheim we can travel to Rudolfshofen, from Rudolfshofen to Senheim. From Senheim we can go into hills and forests northwest of Bad Windsheim, set up some kind of, I don't know, defenses along the ridge here. The problem is, again, this is open terrain, which is an easy target either for artillery or the air support. And as far as I know, they have some air support available. So the only option is to go north to Oberntief, and from Oberntief capture Bad Windsheim, and then provide some fire support from Bad Windsheim area. Maybe would be able to catch enemies HQs or artillery. That would be possible, but that's gonna take some time. You can see that the the distance between Uffenheim and Bad Windsheim, if you want to follow the northern roads, there is not too many roads though. That's gonna take some time. So I'm not entirely sure. Also, that would require dissolving my forces, splitting them, and based on the numbers we can see in intelligence report, I'm not entirely sure whether this is a good idea. So okay, so either way, let's do something with my reconnaissance elements. I could place them here. That's Dashberg Hill. Dagsberg. Okay, we could do so, and we could probably even get to that. I think those are swamps. They are marked like that. We could get here, but the problem is again, as I've said, no cover at all. This is not great. Also, we could place my scouts in Buchheim. That provides some cover and concealment. And again, the problem is that there is no good retreat path for them. So I don't know what they're doing so makes much sense. The only the only value coming from doing so, like placing scouts in Bushheim or Ergersheim or even in Dashberg Hill, is that we can see enemy movement in that area, whether they are trying to outflank us or not. So that's one of the available options, and frankly speaking, I think we should do so. So I will place one of my reconnaissance sections on top of Dashberg Hill, and by doing so, we can control the northern area. And I think that's the plan. Uh, and honestly, feel um, I don't want to put any more units dissolved separately in different places. I think the basic information whether enemies are going towards Ergersheim and trying to outflank me from the north, that's enough. Uh, at that point, I should be able to react to those movements to set up some defense lines uh, around Ermetshofen or Kustenlor. Is that Kustenloch? I have no clue. Of course, we have some devils here. This is not a perfect terrain again. A lot of open fields. Quite vulnerable. We are quite vulnerable targets at such places, especially that they have air support. So, mm, but that's it. I think that's it. We can't do much about that. Also, there is an option I could forward deploy my scouts around Urfersheim and also airfield. But I feel like they will decimate my scout units immediately, and also the retreat path is again open field, so doesn't make much sense. Okay, so now let me grab a second reconnaissance section and let's find a good place for them, and that place, hmm, Petersburg Hill. That would be interesting place. Of course, we cannot put that unit directly into Petersburg, but we can put them over here, and from that location we can easily get to Petersburg or Petersburg actually. Okay, yeah, sounds good. And we have also HQ, and for HQ, HQ could also station over here. You have some additional high ground. So additional firepower. Those Bradleys with TOW 2 are really effective, so let's do so. We will try to get on top of that ridge, and keep under fire control that approach from Westheim to Marktbergel. Okay, so that's it about reconnaissance. Wow, almost 13 minutes. Jesus. Let's set up some SOPs then. I think we will do so. That's gonna be easier. So let's select first reconnaissance section, set SOP, silently screen, relocate while spotted, don't fire until fired upon, large standoff, avoid losses, no early dismount. This is not a SOP I would like to select. Screen and fight, relocate after receiving fire, engage at max range, large standoff, avoid losses, no early dismount. Oh, it misses the colon here. Okay, we'll proceed either way. Let me open SOP. Let's switch to default. Definitely not the standoff range to 0. I don't want them to relocate from that ridge because of the standoff range. Tactical initiative generous, absolutely acceptable losses, minimal. We don't want to lose men here. No point. Fire discipline, maximum range. Yes, sir. Relocate when after receiving direct fire. Or actually, if they decide to put artillery fire on me, okay, after receiving any fire, that's fine. Movement preferences, Concealment and avoid NBC. That's correct. Passengers disembark and range. One from end of path and one from enemy, just in case if I forget to do so later. Resupply triggered 25%. We will decrease it to 15. And of course, if it's possible, I would like to change the trigger for readiness. We would like to recover to 75%, and I'm pretty sure it will drop immediately down. I don't know why, but it will happen. So let's apply to this and later unit orders also. Let me close it, and just out of curiosity, indeed, readiness trigger 25, and it switched to recover to 36 instead of 75 as I've set up previously. So I have no clue. I guess it's some kind of, yeah, default. I feel like that's kind of bug, but maybe I'm doing something wrong. I have no clue. It seems quite simple in my understanding, but I might be wrong. So no idea. Also, let's change from screen to hold, which which will give us some additional defense bonus. Of course, to dig in, it takes around 30 minutes, but I think we should have time for doing so. And if we can increase uh, the defense bonus, why not? Especially if they decide to either bombard us or send some combat aviation against us. Okay, now let's jump to second reconnaissance platoon. Let's also set SOP, screen and fight. Let's proceed. Let's open SOP manager, default. Again, standoff range down to 0, acceptable losses minimal, fire discipline maximum range, relocate when after receiving any fire. I think it's correct. Passengers disembark at range 1 and 1 from enemy. Oh, carriers when empty. I completely forgot about that for my first platoon. So let's switch it. Support passengers. Resupply trigger at 15% up to 100. Uh, Movement preferences are correct. Okay, looks good. Apply to this in later unit orders, and also now I will click apply to all units of same type. That includes also HQ. Okay. Now let me go back to first platoon and let's take a look at SOP. Pa, 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 pa. Carriers when empty. Okay, let's switch it to support passengers like that. Okay, now it's good. And default order also includes support passengers. Any other differences? No, everything is correct for me. Lovely. Now let's take a look at HQ to make sure everything is correct. Default order, indeed, it is correct. Beautiful. So let's close it. And with that being done, let's plot some movement order. We will try to move deliberately. We can follow such path. We will try to hold if possible. Okay, beautiful. And now let's select place for my HQ. Which place is? I'm trying to find a hex which is kind of providing the uh, supportive fire for both the reconnaissance section and also HQ, so they can fire uh, at once together. The problem is that finding such place isn't the easiest task. Looks like the hex here is the best option, but if we want to retreat from that hex, that's gonna be a bit more challenging. So I think I will place them Okay, that hex I have right now looks better, so we will move to that location. So let's move deliberately. We will go this way along the rail track to Franken Kaserne Munasiedlung, Siedlung, okay, whatever it is. Like this, like that, and here. And we will commit. Oh, I selected screen. I would prefer hold. And that's gonna take you around 21 minutes. So that's a single command cycle. Perfect. Okay. So for my reconnaissance, everything looks fine. For you, that's gonna take 8 minutes. Beautiful. Perfect. Let me just verify the movement orders. Carriers when empty support passengers. Passengers disembark in range 1 from end of path, 1 from enemy. Maximum range, no standoff. Beautiful. Everything is correct. So that's the plan for my reconnaissance. Of course, the problem is that they are not protected by air defense, which is sad, but you have to accept it. Now, we have what? We have. Should we start from A company? Where is A company? A company is here. Okay, their movement is very limited. Okay. What about the tank company? It's somewhat better, but I wouldn't say perfect. Okay. What about B company? That's also mechanized infantry. Okay. So you gentlemen, you can deploy much forward. It's also interesting. And that's another question, what to do. Bradleys and TOW 2. A lot of them. Huh. This is the option. I could forward deploy them. The problem is they will be heavily outnumbered. That's gonna be a single company against what? Against the battalion size element? On the map we can see that's the regiment size element. Now there is no point doing so. They will be slaughtered immediately. We have to listen to General Montgomery, and we have to consolidate our firepower at one place. Of course, it's again kind of a static defense, but I feel like with the assets we have, no air support, honestly no artillery support, being the active side on defense is quite challenging. I feel like the idea of the very active and flexible defense makes a lot of sense, uh, providing that you have enough of supportive assets like air support and artillery support. Especially the air dominance is crucial in such scenarios. So you can easily maneuver different places, and you are not worried that something will show up on the sky and hit you from the sky, because this is dangerous, especially for mechanized columns and for the logistics. Of course, here we don't have logistics, but let's imagine we have. In that scenario, we don't have airspace control at all. We don't have any kind of air support. Also, our air defense capabilities are very limited. It's usually only a single Stinger per company. So yeah, this is very limited asset. And we are also facing enemy attack helicopters, so they can use them as a vanguard. So there's no way we can flexibly move uh, at different places. So yeah, I think that the static defense is the best approach here. Of course, probably the professionals would complain and tell me, well, you are wrong, and I might be wrong. I agree, but I have no better idea, to be honest. The best thing is to use the terrain to our advantage, to dig in deeply, and to use the our range capability of our armament, especially those TOW 2. ATGMs probably outrange most of the weaponry used by USSR, Warsaw Pact. So okay, let's go back. Let's go back to A company. I'm sorry, to B company because they can forward deploy. Okay, so couple of options here. We can locate, for example, one of their platoons in the urban area, and that's how it's called. Dear God, Magdeburger. Okay, so let's grab first platoon, and we'll put first platoon here. We could also put one platoon in Ottenhofen. The problem is there is no retreat path from Ottenhofen. So this is not a great idea to follow. The good idea though is to place my units, or at least some elements, on the ridges here overlooking the area. And that's the plan. So let's grab second platoon. Is it a second platoon? Indeed, it is. And that second platoon will station here. Cover 65%, concealment 73. Okay. What about the other places? Cover 90%, cover 97, cover 75. Okay, this is not a perfect place. Now I see. But we can locate them over here. Those two hexes looks really promising for me. Also the hex here is promising. Maybe we don't need to forward deploy as much as I want to do. Also we have Petersburg Hill, and that's the place for our recon. Also for the HQ. Okay, looks good. So that's the first and second platoon. Where's the third? Third platoon is over here. Let's find a place for them also. Do we want to separate third platoon from the first and second? I could place that platoon in the city along with first platoon, but I couldn't maximize the provided firepower by my Bradleys. I have four of them. Also I have Dragon, but Dragon is of low range as far as I remember. Yeah, it's up to 1 kilometer, so this is not something huge. Uh, that hex looks also promising. If I could do it like that, that would make a lot of sense, I guess. Okay, let's leave it such a dislocation like now, at least for now. Mm, Now let's find a place for my air defense. And I don't know why, but I feel like the air defense would perfectly match on top of Petersburg, and that's because it provides a lot of good line of sight. Mm, from the city, it looks also promising, but definitely that hex is something huge, and it's up to 5 kilometers. So if we can create kind of air defense umbrella over the highway B470 over these areas would be awesome. Another such system, another Stinger Stinger section. I would like to place, for example, here, somewhere there. Yeah, that would be perfect if we could do so. Okay, yeah, the idea is quite solid. Okay, let's stick to it then. Okay, so the first, second, and the third platoon, including the air defense section, they are deployed. We still have HQ. HQ, what do you have? Okay, you're not combat ready. It's a single Abrams M113. So I wish to place you in Frankenkaserne, how it's called? Frankenkasern Monasiedlung. Is it a town village? So it looks like it's a village. So I will place my HQ here. I think it's a good place for my HQ. Of course they suffer because of range to battalion HQ. Where is battalion HQ? Here it is. Yeah. Of course we can get them closer like that and problem is solved, so it's not a big deal. Let's leave it for now. We still have anti-tank platoon in the big company, and now the question is where we would like to place them. You are equipped with what? It's a ITO. What's the range of that weaponry? It's probably the same as for TOW 2. Okay, 3.7 kilometers. Fair enough. And where we should place you? That location is nice. That location isn't very nice. Oh, here also not bad. Here not bad. There's plenty of interesting places to utilize. Could also place you here, but the vision from that location isn't perfect. Okay. I don't think I want to stack them with my infantry platoons. That's because mostly of enemy air superiority and artillery firepower. That would be a bit dangerous for me, I guess. Hmm. Where I could place you? Okay. Could place you here. Quite a vulnerable target though. Here. But regarding the range, actually here maybe. Maybe here it would be better. Cover 90%, concealment 97. Yeah, why not? We will try to get on top of it. Also including the range. Here we have 3 kilometers mark. So if we add 1 heg, that's gonna be 3.5. So maximum range will be somewhere here. It will nicely align with line of sight tool. Okay, perfect. That's what we will do. Do we want to assign them SOPs? 33 minutes. Okay, let's do so. Let me drink. Okay, so let's start with first mechanized infantry platoon. Oh, let's right click. Let's set SOP. We will select from the default one, and we'll try to adjust it to our purpose. We are selecting from APC, IFV, or anti-tank ATGM. So let's go for IFV because I think IFVs are the most part of that element. And we will select IFV stay and fight. Engage at long range, no standoff, no relocation. Perfect. And now let's see the SOP, of course the default one. Tactical initiative, it's slight. I would prefer moderate. Acceptable losses, moderate, not do or die. This is not the way NATO works. Moderate. That's fine. Fire discipline, maximum range, relocate never. Yeah, I think I don't like when they relocate by their own, and especially that around them there is flat open terrain. There is only one reasonable path to retreat, which is the southern part of the town, and from that up to the ridgeline, following the highway, and from that highway then you can follow the rail track and follow the ridge. But other than that, I don't see a better option to retreat. We have to hold that terrain though. Movement, preference, concealment, and roads. That's correct. Passengers disembark, one from end of path and one from enemy, and that's just for future usage, I guess. So that's why I'm doing so, because otherwise I would probably forget about that. Carriers when empty support passengers. Of course, this is our main firepower for that unit. You can see 4 Bradleys, each one equipped with 80 GM launcher. So this is the obvious choice. And resupply trigger, we will select 15%. We will switch readiness to recover to percentage and 36 because somehow we cannot change it. I have no clue why. And of course we will apply to this unit only, or actually apply to this in later unit orders as well. And we even click apply to all units of same type. And that includes 3 platoons from A company and 3 platoons from B company. And for me, this is correct. Now, let's switch to, I'm sorry, let's switch to hold. We really need to get that bonus for holding, for digging in. And let me check now. Let's verify whether that hold order is correct. Blah, blah, blah. It looks correct. Perfect. So now let's switch to 3rd platoon. Let's select hold. Let's apply. And now let me take a look. Oh, of course. Apply to this in later unit orders. Now hold. It looks correct. Beautiful. So 1st and 3rd platoon are done. Or actually, let's switch the 3rd and 2nd platoon. So I will keep 1st and 2nd platoon in the city and the 3rd platoon at the back on the ridgeline. So let me select 2nd platoon. Let's switch to hold. Let's open SOP manager. Let's select default and let's apply the default settings to later unit orders, and now the hold order is correct. We are closing it. Boom, boom, thank you. That's done. What we have left in the in the B company, we have left HQ, air defense section, and anti-tank platoon. So let's go for air defense section now. Let's set SOP air defense, and that's SAM air defense, which is for long range. Engage at max range, don't relocate, large standoff, avoid losses, prefer roads. Interesting. Let's open SOP manager then. Preferred standoff range 10 hexes, no. 0. Tactical initiative moderate, acceptable losses minimal. We want to keep you alive as long as possible, of course. Why preferred standoff range 0? That's because the unit is supported by mechanized infantry and other elements like scout elements, so there is no reason to use the huge standoff range. I think it would make sense if we were fighting uh, alone and like placing those units alone, and we would like to avoid any unnecessary or by accident fire. But for my purpose, where we are trying to create some kind of air defense umbrella over the area, I think the standoff range down to 0 is reasonable. Fire discipline, maximum range, relocate when never. Yeah, that's gonna be a very static defense. Actually, in that case, I could consider switching to after receiving any fire. The problem is that I have only one system in that area, one Stinger. If they decide to bombard that hex and at the same time they bring in attack helicopters, I won't be able to stop them. So that's why I'm selecting it. And hopefully that's gonna work. We'll find out soon. Movement, preferences, concealment roads, avoid NPC correct, passenger disembark. We will select okay for air defense system, I think 0 and 0 is correct. Carriers when empty, hide nearby, of course. absolutely. And resupply trigger 25%. We have to decrease it down to even 10% because mostly the key ammunition is calculated based on those Stinger rounds. So 10%, that should be correct. And recover to 100, of course. We'll switch readiness to percentage also, and we will apply to this and to this unit only, to later orders, and even to all units of same type. And those are all air defense sections, so we have three of them. For A company, for B company, and for D company, which is a tank company. Okay, perfect. Of course, the screen order is different, so we'll apply to this and later unit orders. We'll switch to hold also. Let's apply and let's verify. Looks correct. Okay. And there is one more thing I would like to check about my mechanized infantry platoons, which is carries when empty. Okay, this is correct. Perfect. Okay, so now we are left with anti-tank platoon. Let's set SOP. That's anti-tank ATGM. Stay and fight. Don't relocate, engage at max range, no standoff range, high loss tolerance. So small modifications required, I guess. We are selecting default. Tactical initiative moderate, acceptable losses moderate, unfortunately. How many of them we have? Four. Okay. To relocate when never, fire discipline max, preferred standoff range 0, movement preference concealment correct, transport doesn't apply because there is no dismount for that particular platoon. Resupply trigger at 15% and readiness, let's switch to percentage. Apply to this unit only, apply to this and later unit orders, and apply to all units of same type. Correct, we have two of such anti-tank platoons, one for each mechanized infantry company. Perfect. And now we have to plot movement order. We get here, we will hold. How much time you need for doing so? 4 minutes. Great. So let's just make sure that the hold order looks correct. It looks correct. Okay. And now last thing, which is HQ. Of course, HQ will be out of combat, so set SOP, HQ, hide and screen, relocate while spotted, large stand of range. Don't fire until fired upon, large initiative, avoid losses. Let's open SOP Manager, default. The stand of range 8 hexes is too much. We'll decrease it down to 4 hexes. Let me take a look. 4 hexes is 2 kilometers. Yeah, down to 4 hexes. Tactical initiative generous, yes. Acceptable losses minimal. Fire discipline hold up until fired on, correct. Or maybe let's switch to short range. Relocate when? While enemy spotted? No, after receiving. Actually, never in their case. Or maybe after receiving any fire, just in case that SIGINT finds where they are uh, and calls in artillery support. We may need to give up on that position and try to relocate somewhere to a safer place. Okay. Movement preference concealment roads also. Why not? Passenger disembark and range 0 from end of path and 0 from enemy. Uh, yes, that's correct. Doesn't make too much impact on that. Resupply trigger, blah blah blah. It doesn't really apply. I mean, it applies, but it's not crucial. And carriers when empty, hide nearby. I think it's a correct approach. So maybe hold until fired on. Fire discipline. Let's switch back to that option. Okay, perfect. Apply to this unit only, to this and later unit orders, and to all units of same type. Let me see. Wow, there's plenty of different HQs. So I'm pretty sure I have to uncheck Reconnaissance HQ. Here we have Brigade HQ. Here we have Battalion HQ. Then we have A Company HQ, B Company HQ, D Company HQ. What's that? That's for Mortar Platoon HQ. Okay, that's fine. And we also have FARP. Okay, so we can do so. So I only uncheck Reconnaissance HQ. Boom. Let's proceed. Beautiful. And now let's switch to, sorry, uh, double click to hold, so we can get some additional defense bonus if, for example, enemies decide to bombard that place. Okay, so looks like we've finished setting SOPs and dislocating my units, or deploying my units for uh, reconnaissance element. Is it a company? I guess so. It might be. Might not be also. Okay, so for the reconnaissance element and for mechanized infantry company, we are still left with mechanized infantry company B or B company. We are also left with D company, which is a tank company, and what else? Mortar platoon, and that would be it. Okay, but since we have already 47 minutes, I think we will continue working on that in the next episode. So I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully see you in the next one, where we'll continue, as I've said. And that's it. So once again, thank you and goodbye.